You're listening to Community Heroes podcast featuring people sharing about their stories with their disabilities. And now for your hosts, Brandon and Pate. Welcome back to Community Heroes podcast. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the U.S. Paralympian wheelchair basketball player, Brian Bell. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today, Brian?
I'm doing good. Can you tell us about your disability and what it is?
Yes, so I have a right below the knee amputation, and that is due to a train accident when I was a kid, when I was younger.
What is it like growing up with a disability?
It had its challenges. For the most part, the community that I was around did a great job of um, helping me with the transition, especially early on. And it was just such an inclusive environment that I didn't find it too difficult, too hard. And just the family and friends encouraging me throughout the whole process was amazing.
What was it like going to the University of Illinois to as a student and as an athlete?
It was amazing. It was a great, great university, academically, and with sports as well, especially with football. So being able to go up there, to a Big Ten school, one of the top ones, and play basketball, for colleges was amazing because early on I didn't think I was going to be able to do that after getting injured, um, after I lost my leg. So it was an amazing time. Met a lot of longtime friends. Even playing with Steve for a couple of years there was a great time.
How was it like the first time you got to play with Steve at University of Illinois in wheelchair basketball?
It was awesome. It was great from the beginning. We played against each other for the longest time in juniors, so we were very, very familiar with each other, and how we played, and we knew going into it that our games complemented each other very well. So we knew that it was only going to be good things from the beginning. So
What was that experience like competing in wheelchair basketball and going to the national championship?
especially it was great. Being in the college division and playing at the nationals, especially in freshman year, and you want to do well. You want to do your best. You want to show everyone in the college space that you belong there. You want to represent your college the best you can, and also win a championship. And fortunate enough, we did my freshman year, so that was a great ending to the beginning of my collegiate career.
What were some of the challenges you faced in competing in sports with a disability?
Um, let's see, that's a great question. I would say sometimes the organizational side of it wasn't always the best, and that wasn't necessarily on whoever's like planning it. It's more kind of a lot of the roadblocks with I don't know the places and stuff that we're going to, being more receptive and more um, available and more, I don't know, kind of conducive to us setting up and being ready and organized to do those sports. I would say would be the biggest thing early on.
How has being able to play wheelchair basketball helped you in your everyday life?
Just team sports in general gives you that mindset to work as a group, to come together, even though you're in different spaces, roles, different backgrounds, and kind of compete together and kind of accomplish that one main goal is to win at the end of the day. So
Have you not let your disability define you into the athlete that you are today?
I don't think so. I definitely think it my disability kind of drives like who I am, especially on the sports side. Being a wheelchair basketball, that kind of ties into it a little bit. But I think it has led me to a lot of opportunities. Like for instance, being having a disability led me to the job that I'm at right now, because I'm Paralympian. And that type of things is, I think, come back, looking back, is a positive, having disability.
What was that feeling like making the Paralympics team for the first time and going to Rio?
Great opportunity making the first one, especially after getting cut from the previous two ones, Beijing and London. So it was amazing feeling to finally actually make it there, and then also accomplish a goal that is really hard to come by. It only happens every 4 years, and it's really hard. It's playing against the best teams in the world, so it's a top accomplishment to even make it to that stage and even to actually win it.
What was that like getting to compete in Rio in your first Paralympic journey?
It was a cool experience. Rio was an awesome place. The people there were very, very inviting, very welcoming. The crowd was rooting for everyone. The biggest thing I remember is playing against Brazil in the pool play, and how much the fans were just into the game, even if their team was losing up, whatever. It was just such a gr- great atmosphere, and I've never been a part of something like that. So it was just amazing to see, amazing to be a part of.
While competing at Rio, what was it like winning the gold medal?
Amazing. It's a top accomplishment. You're representing your country, and to win the medal and basically show the world that you're the best team, in the world. And it was just an amazing feat. We haven't won since that day in like 28 years or something like that. And it was kind of our motivating factor going into Rio, is that we haven't won in so long. We need to bring it back to the US.
Of course, having two Paralympians behind your belt, what has it been like obviously being a two-time Paralympian and going to Tokyo and also having the Rio gold medal under your belt?
I would say being USA on USA team, it's always a target on our back. So I feel like every team we play always gives us our best game. So I feel like after winning the first one, going into Tokyo, like it was even more so. Like everyone wanted to give us their best shot. And you can kind of see that with Japan, the host team. They did well. Most people didn't think they would make it all the way to the final, and they played as well in the final. It could have gone either way towards the end. So it's just things like that. It's just everyone wants to give us their best shot, especially after winning. They want to prove that they are the best after playing the best team. So they want to be the best.
What challenges did you face at the Paralympics in your last two Paralympics?
I would say for real, wasn't too many challenges, I would say. Everything ran pretty smoothly. There was no hiccups. I know Tokyo being the pandemic and what we were going through, it was a little more challenging being stuck in the village and not being able to actually see Tokyo at all was very, very heartbreaking to me, because that's like one of the main places I wanted to like visit and sightsee, was Tokyo. So I definitely have to make my way back there to actually like sightsee and actually look around. But that would be like the more of the downside to it, was not being able to actually experience and get a chance to sightsee in Tokyo.
What was that experience like getting to represent US and being able to compete at the highest level?
Amazing feeling to represent your country. I know I've always tell people that it's up on par, at least to me, it's like representing your country in, the army or any of those spaces, because growing up, I was planning on doing that before I got injured, was to, enlist into military, stuff like that. And so to be able to represent your country in a different way, just amazing chance and opportunity, to kind of show and represent your country to the world in the best light you can.
What has it been like obviously giving back to the disability community as a wheelchair basketball Paralympian?
I feel like it's very, very important to give back to your community. You always want to leave it a lot better than when you started. So giving back to the next generation, teaching them, I've always been good about that. If anyone wants to come to me, ask me questions, I try to give them as much feedback or information that will help them on their journey as much as possible. Because I know when I was starting out, I had that in my life. I had a lot of people encouraging me, giving me the opportunities to succeed. So I want that for the next generation.
How has it helped, obviously, as you said, being cut from two Paralympics? What has that helped like to make it to your two other Paralympics journeys?
It just drove me even more to after getting cut from those two. Um, that at the time when I got cut from those two, I was still young. I was only, I think, 19, 20 at the time. So I knew I had plenty of time to make more teams in the future. So I just kind of grinded it out. I improved my game more and more and more, bit by bit by bit, and ultimately, I was able to make those last two Paralympics.
Outside of wheelchair basketball, what are some of the things that you do to help the disability community?
Just giving back. Trying to, as much as possible, volunteer to help coach the younger community if I can, whoever's in the area. I know right now I'm in California, so I'm in the Bay Area, so I'm trying to like get established with local organizations and teams here. I'm already doing that now, so I'm trying to give back as much as I can with definitely newly injured people, because that's kind of the opportunity that some people don't have all the time is having that structure or someone who's gone through what you've gone through to help them along their journey a lot quicker than they would do if they didn't have someone.
Of course, being in the Bay Area now, how's that been like? Obviously, working with the Golden State Warriors and having an opportunity to help the disability community be able to play adaptive sports.
It's great. I know being overseas for the past 9 years was an amazing opportunity, but it's also nice to be back home and be playing and actually have like your younger generation actually see you play at some of these tournaments because sometimes they don't always get the chance to see some of the games overseas, especially with the time difference. So it's pretty cool being back and actually meeting some of these people that have, seen games of you overseas or seeing you play for Team USA and getting a chance to talk to them, mentor them, and kind of help up the improve the next generation.
What was that feeling like getting to put on that Golden State NBA jersey and having your name on it and then getting to represent the Golden State organization along with the US Paralympics?
Oh, it was amazing. Golden State has a long history of success, so I kind of want to continue that, especially because I'm used to on the success side because of my work ethic. So I want to keep improving. I want to bring a championship to the Bay for Golden State because Golden State is tied with winning. So I want to keep that tradition a little alive with the Road Warriors as well.
How's that been like? Obviously, having being in wheelchair basketball, what is that like getting to get into a wheelchair basketball wheelchair versus obviously having your normal wheelchair?
Um, I use my normal wheelchair usually not very often these days, but mainly for like long extended trips. But the biggest difference I would say is just um yeah, I would say the biggest like hiccup would be the difference of like wheels and spacing and fitting through doorways, stuff like that. But for the transition wise, it's pretty, I think, easy. I most of the time walk around because having a prosthetic, but I do use a day chair off and on at home. And for me, it's pretty natural to kind of do both and be able to interchange between the two, and then also play basketball when it needs to on practices and games.
Of course, what is that like? Obviously, in games, going in down the court in your wheelchair with the basketball.
It's definitely some challenges. I've definitely had people who never played wheelchair basketball hop in a chair and try it out. And then like the first thing they say, like, how you guys constantly move so quickly while dribbling? It's the same thing like you tell everyone, it's all practice. When I first got in the chair, I wasn't that great at it. It took a lot of, patience, timing, getting the feel of like your chair. I tell people all the time, your chair is kind of like shoes. When you put on a brand new pair of shoes, you have to like try them out, fill them out, see how they feel before, take them to a real game, before actually being able to utilize them in practice and stuff like that. So it's the same thing. It's like once you get used to the chair, the mechanics, the more functional aspects of it, it becomes more and more natural, and then you can kind of improve upon it.
How's it like obviously helping those young athletes get into that with disabilities getting into wheelchair basketball?
Oh yeah, I feel like it's a great opportunity to kind of do that and set up other people for success. Because I think the biggest thing, at least when I was looking back, was not a lot of people had the opportunity to know wheelchair basketball or know adaptive sports. If you're in certain areas, you don't have local teams near you. So it took you a lot more to like find those avenues, find those resources, because you're removed from it. So I feel like having better awareness in certain areas, so more kids have opportunities to do sports and not, sitting at home doing nothing. Because a biggest thing is to be active, and also it helps with being social, being in a community that accepts because they have the same disabilities or same issues or problems that you will probably have down the line.
Of course, what is it like getting to meet your fans with disabilities and having that platform to show them that one day that they can become Paralympians just like how you have?
It's very cool. I know when I was first starting out, I used to watch all the USA teams back in the day play, or all the other top teams back in the day play, like Canada and Australia battling against each other early on, during my career in like the Paralympics and other major competition. So it's cool actually being in that space now, and being able to kind of show the next generation, talk to them, tell them kind of like the tricks and trades of like how I got to where I was, things that I worked on. So it's very cool. I love it. I never really thought early on that I'd be in this space. I had high hopes, of course. I've always wanted to make it this way, but you never think it is going to happen until it happens. So.
How have you been able to balance life outside of wheelchair basketball with life with wheelchair basketball?
It's definitely a challenge for sure, especially come back now, having a full-time job now, and then try to like balance basketball. I was a little spoiled playing professionally overseas. Literally, basketball was 24/7, so it's easier to kind of tailor my lifestyle to basketball, and then of course family. But now I have three things now that I have to like balance, and that's basketball, life, and work. So it's definitely a challenge. It's definitely getting used to it. Definitely getting more and more accustomed to the adjustment. But yeah, it's definitely a big change for sure.
What has that been like, obviously, having a corporate job while also being a professional basketball player representing the US?
It's great, especially where I'm working at Visa. It's a sponsorship of the Paralympics, so they're very understanding with the athletes that they have that works with them. That if they might have competitions or might have things that they have to commit to for that athletic career. So being a part of an organization and company that sees that, understands that, and works with you, that so that you can be able to do both and not be able to kind of sacrifice one or the other.
Have you been able to give back to the disability community?
I know right now becoming more of a part of a nonprofit organization in the Bay Area, the Life Goes On Foundation, that kind of gives back to the community or people who are newly injured, give them wheelchairs, for instance. So things like that, I'm trying to get more and more attached to help people get access to tools and equipment that they can use to do sports, and not necessarily basketball. They can do whatever they want, tennis, track, just being a part of organizations like that.
What are some of your future plans in the sport of wheelchair basketball?
I've always sat down the road that I would like to coach. It's still on table. I would love to kind of find time to be able to kind of do that, or at least assistant coach or something. So then I can start having an active role in teaching the next generation. So the next generation coming up can represent their country in the Paralympics down the road, and being able to like say that I had an influence in that person to get to that. that spot in their life.
What advice would you give those people that are looking to go into college and play adaptive sports like wheelchair basketball?
Um, I think the biggest thing is don't be intimidated by the fact of like going to a college and playing sports. Yes, it's big challenges, of course, but it's amazing time being able to play with your basketball for university. You get the whole experience like another, able-bodied athlete would do going to a college and university. The university space is getting bigger and bigger, more and more awareness, more and more coverage of the collegiate, and you get an excellent education on top of it. So I definitely encourage people to take the opportunities they can to do that and to hone their skills basketball wise and academically before going overseas. Because I know more people think like, oh, overseas play, you get paid more money, but it's better to get some of the education before doing that.
What advice would you give those people that are looking to one day become Paralympians just like you have?
Just take every feedback you get. Don't be too negative on the feedback you get. Just take it, own it, and then constantly keep improving on those small little details that you can work on. I've always said that I've always want to work on my weaknesses. So any type of weaknesses that I have, I try to like tailor my game on it and work on it. So I can make myself better. And my mindset early on was being more of a all around player, not being one dimensional. So being good to great at multiple things, not just being great at one thing.
That's great advice. Where can our listeners find you at on social media?
You can find me on Instagram. It should be B_Bell1308. And then I think Facebook, you just type in Brian Bell, it'll come up right away. So
Thank you again, Brian Bell, for your interview and best of luck in your future as a U.S. Paralympian wheelchair basketball.
thank you. I appreciate it, Brandon, for having me.
You can find Community Heroes on Facebook at Community Heroes, Instagram at Community Heroes_NC, Twitter at com_heroes, and you can find us on YouTube at Officially Community Heroes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Brian Bell, for your interview and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You are watching Community Heroes. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Community Heroes on social media and on YouTube.